Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Before I begin today, a big thank you to Benny for the virtual gift voucher. Thank you very much for the support, my friend. It is truly appreciated. Thank you. But on to today. Today, Angron Week continues with the Night of the Wolf. The Wolf King cometh. And oh man, have I been waiting to talk some Russ. Spoiler warning to begin, the events we are discussing today are from the Horus Heresy novel Betrayer by ADB. As always, I really recommend you read the novel for yourself first, because that's the best way to enjoy the lore for yourself. Not only that, we help to support the great Games Workshop and Black Library, because without them, we don't have this amazing lore to talk about. I will put a link in the description as always. But with that said, let's just jump straight in. So with Angron having begun implementing the butcher's nails across his legion, the recompliance of Ghenna became a massacre. The World Eaters rolled over the world like a tide of destruction. But word of Angron implementing the butcher's nails had reached the Emperor, and the order to stop had been decreed, but went ignored. And as the Ghenna campaign came to a close, with Angron still standing on the plains, caked in the blood of the people, the Harafnikel arrives in orbit. The Wolf King had come, with a fleet of wolves at his back. The two legions met on the plains, their primarchs at their head, and as the captains of the World Eaters stand with Angron, there's an absolutely awesome description of Russ. Even interred in his walking coffin, he'd been struck by the majesty of standing before Russ. Here was a being gene-coded to perfection, a reflection of humanity's beloved royal paragon. Russ bled authority without effort, and without the need for posture or pretense. Russ nods his respect to the dreadnought Lork, the once Legion Master, lamenting he was no longer in charge of the Legion. And at that, Angron finally speaks. Unlike Russ, he was savagery unrestrained by healthy dynamism. He brought no charismatic aura of life and passion. He was a god of war, broken, dangerous, and worst of all, unreliable. The nails had forced his left eye to twitch open and closed in a madman's blink. "Did he send you?" the Eater of Worlds asked. Russ said nothing. His silence had Angron smiling, though it was an ugly slice of a thing, showing no joy. He didn't, did he? The Emperor and Horus sail the stars together without a care for any of this. You've come to punish me because you believe it's your place. In those early years, Angron carried his first axe, the precursor to all others. He called it Widowmaker. It would break this very day, never to be used again. Russ carried Krakenmore, his immense chainblade, toothed by some Fenrisian sea devil from that blighted world's many myths. The wind toyed with his bedraggled hair, blowing strands of the golden mane across his face. Eyes the colour of melting ice never left the bloodshot orbs in Angron's cabled skull. Reports reach my ears, Angron. The words of commanders and captains who have suffered at your side. Soldiers forced to fight without orders, losing hundreds when mere dozens needed to die. Your own allies speak of the butchery done to them at your son's hands. Report after report after report. Witness after witness after witness. All of this comes to me. And I wonder, my brother, what am I to do? Two immense wolves circled the Primarchs. Their fur was white, dusted by grey. One snarled, as wolves will always snarl when threatened. saliva wet fangs on show, eyes sharp and ears low. The other merely paced, content to watch the speaking godlings, its dark eyes catching the light of the setting sun. The calmer beast came within Russ's reach, and the warlord dragged armoured fingers through its thick coat. "I am not your lackey to judge," Angron stated. The cybernetic cables forming technological dreadlocks tensed as he clenched his iron teeth. "And you have no authority over me. Over any of us." Russ smiled again. "And yet, here I am." Now this is one of the things I love about Russ. So much is made of his role as the Emperor's executioner. But Russ isn't here because the Emperor's ordered Angron censured. Yes, the Emperor has decreed Angron stop the implanting of the Butcher's nails into his legion. But that's it. As Angron has already figured out, Russ is here because he feels it's his responsibility. In the novel Wolfsbane, we are given a great insight into the mind of Russ. He's the second Primarch found after Horus, and for all his bluster and bravado, he cares a great deal about his brothers, and his role of executioner makes him take an older brother type role with many of his kin, feeling it's his job to tell them when they're stepping out of line. But being a genetically engineered warlord Primarch with a temper, it usually ends in a fight. Angron banters Russ that a war would see both their legions in ruins, and to leave before it gets to the point of regret. And that's showing remarkable restraint on Angron's part. There's still that part of him that knows where this will lead. He doesn't want to fight Russ, but he knows if Russ stays, he won't be able to help himself. But Russ speaks again, telling his brother the surgeries have to stop. The Emperor has willed it, and the massacres end now too. And you can tell this is something Russ is adding in of his own accord. He doesn't say the Emperor has willed the massacres to stop, which is an interesting point to consider. Telling Angron to open his eyes and see what he's done to this world. It's not cleansed as he claims. It's been butchered. He will submit and come to Terra, where they will try everything they can to remove the Butcher's nails. Angron of course refuses, denouncing Russ for having no authority over him. The tension rising as both the hot-headed Primarch's tempers flare. "Ideals are what we fight for, brother." There was something colder in Russ's tone then. A decision had been made, frosting his voice. Angron had laughed, the sound rich and true. Such pretty lies. We fight for the same reasons men have always fought. For land, for resources, for wealth, and for bodies to feed into the grinders of industry. We fight to silence anyone that dares draw breath and whisper a different opinion from ours. We fight because the Emperor wants every world in his hands. All he knows is slavery, painted in the inoffensive cloak of compliance. The very notion of freedom is a horror to him. "Traitor," Russ hissed. Angron stood tall, still grinning. "Do we give choices to those we slaughter? A true choice? Or do we broadcast that they must throw their weapons into the fires of peace and bow down, faces pushed into the mud like beggars, thanking us for the culture we force upon them? We offer them compliance, or we offer them death. How am I a traitor, Wolfling? I fight as you fight. As loyal as you are, I do the tyrant's bidding. We offer them freedom." Russ spoke through clenched teeth, the moon bright in his eyes. "You are mutilating your own sons and stealing their minds. Now you preach of the Emperor's tyranny, Are you lost so far in your delusions? And for a moment, that hits home at Angron, his smile fading and defeat crossing his face. You are free, Leman Russ of Fenris, because your freedom matches the Emperor's will. For each time I wage war against worlds that threaten the Imperium's advance, there comes another time when I am told to conquer peaceful worlds that wish only to be left alone. I am told to destroy whole civilizations and call it liberation. I am told to demand millions of men and women from these new worlds, to make them take up arms in the Emperor's hordes, and I am told to call this a tithe, or recruitment, because we are too scared of the truth. We refuse to call it slavery. Angron, Russ snarled. Be silent. You have given your threats, dog. Now hear me. Listen to another hound barking for once. Then speak, Russ had said, as if permission were his to give. I am loyal, the same as you. I am told to bathe my legion in the blood of innocents and sinners alike, and I do it, because it is all that's left for me in this life. I do these things, and I enjoy them, not because we are moral, or right, or loving souls seeking to enlighten a dark universe, but because all I feel are the butcher's nails hammered into my brain. I serve because of this mutilation. Without it, well, perhaps I might be a more moral man, like you claim to be. A virtuous man, eh? Perhaps I might ascend the steps of our father's palace and take the slaving bastard's head. Man, this is why we need more Emperor Angron content. Yes, the Emperor knows the extent of the damage done to Angron's mind. He knows Angron can only feel pleasure in anger, and pain at any other emotion. But man, we need to see him reacting to this. To see other Primarchs reacting, talking with Angron. I'd love to see other loyal, top-tier fighters conversing with Angron, such as the Lion or Sanguinius. Honestly, I'd expect much the same reaction as Russ. As both legions tense, knowing the line has been crossed, Russ draws his sword and clashes with Angron's axe. Brothers locking weapons, face to face. Russ telling Angron he's truly lost, and Angron bellowing he can't beat him in combat, pushing Russ back. Both Primarchs stand apart, neither moving. For all Russ's temper, he's not here to fight. And for all Angron's spite, it's not truly harboured at his brothers. Angron has to harness his rage at all times. If he truly wished to fight Russ, they already would be, despite his words. Then without either Primarch giving an order, a lone shot is fired, and the bolters flare, beginning the fight both Primarchs never truly wished to start. And so the Night of the Wolf was born, a fight neither legion wanted, that both claimed victory, and that both secretly feared they'd lost. The next we see of the conflict is Angron allowing Lorgar to view his memories. Russ, crawling away, staggers to his feet as Angron moves to continue the fight, only to be stopped as Russ opens his arms offering no fight, telling Angron to look around. The Primarchs were surrounded, Space Wolves all, with bolters directed straight at the World Eater Primarch. It had all been a test. Beyond the battle raging, World Eaters tearing into the wolves, casualties mounting, but mostly heedless of their Primarch's plight. My men are dying, Russ admitted, yet here we stand at the battle's heart, and only one legion is about to lose its Primarch. Do you see why I came? Do you see how you've broken your sons? He threw an arm to take in a wide part of the battlefield. The wolves are soldiers taking an objective. They fight to win, while your world eaters fight only to kill. But Angron still cannot see Russ's meaning. Happy to spend every life on the battlefield to the last, robbed by the nails of true compassion or true reasoning. Russ's lesson has fallen on deaf ears. Russ came to open the eyes of a brother who simply cannot see, and his legion are bleeding for it. Realizing it's been a pointless endeavour, Russ signals the retreat. And as the memory fades, Lorgar asks Angron if he learnt Russ's lesson, but Angron simply crows himself the victor. And if you read this without much knowledge of Angron, you could make the mistake of assuming he comes across as a simple-minded fool, which unfortunately I think is why Angron has got such a bad stereotype. But the reason for this is because the nails have robbed him of so much of his mind. It's like I said before, it's not because he chooses not to see Russ's point. It's that the damage done by the nails means he can't. Even when Lorgar spells it out for him, it just causes his anger to rise. He proves the damage the nails are doing to your legion. He proves the tactical strength of taking an objective, rather than fighting purely to kill. He spares your life, in the hope you'll see all of this, in a lesson it cost him heavily to teach you, and your reaction is to grin and claim yourself the victor. So the famed Night of the Wolf, an attempt by one brother to get the other to see the value of life, that alas could never be heeded. But as always guys, what did you think? Was Russ right to try and help Angron see the error of his ways? Or should he have just steered clear? Is Russ wrong to think it's his responsibility to help his brothers see things a different way? Do you think it would have come to blows without someone else opening fire? And could Angron and Russ have had a better relationship if the nails were never implanted? And does this show the Emperor's error in allowing Angron to even take charge of his legion? As always guys, drop your thoughts in the comments below. I am interested to read them. A huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support really means a lot to me, it truly does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.